What if Jamie Fraser's destiny was never to survive the final battle, but to become its legend? What if season 8 of Outlander isn't about how he dies, but how his story transcends time itself? The question haunting every fan isn't just will Jamie die, it's how far will love go when even time demands a sacrifice. Season 8 begins not with a war cry, but with silence, the kind that follows loss. The American Revolution burns hotter than ever, and Fraser's Ridge, once a place of peace, trembles beneath the weight of change. Jamie Fraser stands at the edge of it all, torn between two worlds, the one he fought to protect and the one that keeps calling him toward his fate. His hair, now streaked with silver, tells the story of every battle fought and every heart he swore to protect. Yet beneath his calm eyes lies a quiet storm. Something has shifted in Jamie, something Claire can feel but cannot explain. Claire, too, has changed. She's seen death, defied time, and held miracles in her hands. But in season 8, her greatest challenge won't come from war. It will come from within. The power that once let her heal may now betray her. Each time she touches the edge of time, the cost grows heavier. Her connection to the future, the modern world, starts to feel like a curse wrapped in destiny. She begins to sense something dark beneath the flow of time, as if fate itself is rewriting their story. Jamie notices her drifting away. He doesn't need words to know when something's wrong. He feels it like a blade in his chest. Their bond, built through centuries of pain and devotion, begins to strain under the weight of destiny. For the first time, Jamie starts to fear not the loss of Claire's life, but the loss of her soul. Meanwhile, Brianna and Roger struggle to rebuild a life in their own time, haunted by the echoes of the past they left behind. The modern world feels safer, but colder. Every shadow, every whisper reminds Brianna of Fraser's Ridge, of her father's strength and her mother's courage. She begins to dream, dreams so vivid they feel real. She sees Jamie, wounded but standing, surrounded by smoke and chaos. She hears Claire calling his name, her voice breaking through time itself. These visions drive Brianna to question everything she thought she escaped. Back in the past, the war inches closer. Jamie becomes more than a man. He becomes a symbol. His name carries weight among rebels and soldiers alike. But every symbol has a cost. The more people depend on him, the closer he edges toward his own undoing. There's a prophecy whispered among the locals that the Highlander who cheats death will one day pay his debt to time. Jamie laughs it off, but Claire can't. She remembers every moment they've escaped death, every near miss that felt too lucky. What if fate isn't done collecting? Their love, once their greatest strength, now feels tested by forces beyond their understanding. Claire starts to sense moments where time flickers, small, almost invisible changes that only she can perceive. A candle burns slower. A wound heals faster. A memory feels rewritten. She keeps these fears from Jamie, knowing how much he already carries. But secrets in Outlander always come with consequences. The tension builds slowly, like a storm forming on the horizon. Jamie's leadership draws the attention of powerful men, some who see him as a hero, others who see him as a threat. When a messenger arrives one evening with orders that could turn the tide of the war, but cost countless lives, Jamie is forced into an impossible choice. Does he fight for freedom and risk everything he loves? Or does he protect his family and watch history unfold without him? Claire begs him to choose life. But Jamie has never been a man to live in half measures. If I die, he tells her quietly, then I'll die knowing I did what I must. His words cut deeper than any sword. Claire realizes the truth she's been avoiding. This war isn't just about nations. It's about destiny. And destiny has never been kind to them. As the first episode builds toward its final moments, a storm rolls over Fraser's Ridge. Lightning flashes across the sky, casting shadows through their home. Claire stands by the window, clutching Jamie's hand. She feels the air shift, the same way it does when time begins to move. The fire crackles, and for a fleeting second, she sees something in his eyes. Something final, like a goodbye hidden behind a smile. And that moment, The question is no longer will Jamie die. It's when? And more hauntingly, will time allow Claire to save him again? Because this time, it's not just war that threatens Jamie Fraser. It's time itself. The dawn after the storm feels strange. Too still, too heavy. Fraser's ridge awakens to the scent of damp earth and gunpowder in the air. Jamie stands outside, watching the mist roll over the hills like ghosts from battles long past. He knows the silence won't last. Every calm before war feels like the breath before a scream. And deep down, Jamie senses that the scream coming this time is meant for him. Claire moves through their home like a shadow, her heart heavy with something she cannot name. The night before, she felt time slip again just for a heartbeat. The candlelight had flickered, and for an instant, Jamie's reflection in the window vanished, replaced by a blurred image of a battlefield drenched in blood. She tries to dismiss it as exhaustion, but the fear burrows deep inside her. She has learned that visions in this world are never meaningless. Meanwhile, letters begin to arrive, each one carrying grim news from the front. Men Jamie once fought beside are dying. Armies are shifting, and sides are changing. The revolution has become a fire no one can control. Jamie knows he cannot stay hidden forever. The people of the Ridge look to him as a leader, a protector, a symbol of hope in a collapsing world. But leadership has a price, and destiny has begun to collect it. Claire watches him prepare for the inevitable. Every movement, every quiet glance feels like a goodbye. She wants to beg him not to go, but she knows she can't. The man she loves has always belonged to both her and to history. Yet this time, history feels cruel. She finds herself questioning fate. Hasn't he suffered enough? Hasn't love already tested them beyond what any soul can bear? That night, as the fire burns low, Jamie and Claire share a rare moment of peace. She traces the scars on his chest, the map of their love and loss. "You've always cheated death," she whispers, her voice trembling. Jamie smiles, his eyes soft but resolute. "Aye," he says, "but even the devil tires of chasing me." His words are meant to comfort, but they strike fear into her heart. Far away, Brianna dreams again. This time she sees her father kneeling in the mud, wounded, his hands pressed to his heart. Behind him, a shadow moves, a figure she cannot make out, but she feels it's someone from her own time. When she wakes, she feels the weight of it still clinging to her. Roger notices her distress, and when she finally confides in him, his face pales. If she's seeing him through time, he says, then something's breaking the barrier again. They realize that the stones, the ancient portals that have shaped their family's fate, are stirring once more. The energy that once let Claire move between centuries is shifting unpredictably. Time is folding in on itself, as if fate is trying to correct something that should never have happened. Roger, who has studied the phenomenon, fears that the timelines are collapsing, past and future colliding. Back at Fraser's Ridge, signs of that collapse begin to show. The weather grows strange. Clocks run backward for seconds at a time. A bird's song repeats unnaturally. Claire begins to feel dizzy, as though time itself is pulsing beneath her skin. When she closes her eyes, she hears whispers, not of the dead, but of the future. One voice among them calls her name. She doesn't recognize it, yet it feels deeply familiar, almost like her own. Jamie sees the change in her. He begs her to rest, but she refuses. If time is breaking, she says, it's because it wants something from us. He asks her what, and she can only reply, balance. She doesn't yet know what that means, but she fears it's a demand that cannot be met without loss. When a messenger brings news of an impending battle at Guilford Courthouse, Jamie knows his moment has come. It's a fight he cannot ignore, the kind that will decide not just the war, but the fate of everyone who follows him. He promises Claire he'll return, but his voice trembles on the last word. They both know promises have little meaning in times like these. That night, before he leaves, Claire dreams of standing in a field of snow, alone, surrounded by echoes of voices calling Jamie's name. She wakes gasping, her hands cold as ice. She knows it wasn't a dream. It was a glimpse. She rushes to stop him, But by the time she reaches the stables, he's already gone. The days that follow are agony. The ridge feels emptier without him. Claire busies herself with patience, pretending the ache in her chest is just worry. But then something strange happens. While tending to a wounded man, she hears Jamie's voice whisper her name. Clear, gentle, and impossibly close. She drops the bandage, her heart racing. The voice fades, but the message lingers. That evening, a faint tremor shakes the ridge. The air turns sharp, and for a split second, Claire sees two suns in the sky, one fading, one rising. She knows it's a sign. Time has split again. The barrier is weakening, and with it, so is the line between life and death. Did I end the distance? Thunder rolls, not from a storm, but from cannons. The war has reached its climax. Claire stands at the edge of the ridge, staring toward the horizon. She feels it in her bones. Something irreversible is happening. Somewhere out there, Jamie is fighting not just for freedom, but for existence itself. And deep down, she knows, when time breaks this time, it won't bring them together. It will tear them apart. The Battle of Guilford Courthouse rages like a storm tearing through the heart of destiny. Smoke rolls across the fields, thick and unforgiving, swallowing screams and prayers alike. Jamie Fraser rides through the chaos, his sword glinting beneath flashes of cannon fire. Around him, men fall, cries echo, and the air burns with the scent of blood and gunpowder. But in the midst of that hell, Jamie's thoughts are not of glory or freedom. They are of Claire. Every heartbeat, every breath, every swing of his blade carries her name. He's no longer fighting for country. He's fighting against fate itself to end that moment. Time seems to bend around him. The sound of war fades, replaced by something stranger, a hum, low and rhythmic, like the pulse of the earth. He looks to the sky and sees a flicker, a shimmer of light cutting through the smoke. It's as if the world itself is splitting open. For a second, Jamie sees her, Claire, standing in a field of snow, her hand reaching toward him, her eyes wide with fear. He hears her voice calling out his name across centuries. Then, in a flash, the vision vanishes and the battle crashes back around him. Claire feels it too. At that exact moment, she collapses in her home on Fraser's Ridge, clutching her chest. The same hum vibrates through the walls, rattling every window. When she looks up, the world around her flickers. For a heartbeat, she's not in the cabin anymore. She's standing on that same battlefield, watching the man she loves fight for his life. The lines of time have vanished. Her tears fall on ground soaked with both blood and history. She screams for him, but her voice is lost in the wind. Jamie turns, his eyes searching the haze, and though he can't see her, he feels her there. For a brief, impossible moment, their hearts beat in the same rhythm, across centuries and chaos. But fate, cruel and patient, waits for no love, no matter how strong. A gunshot rings out. Jamie staggers. The world slows to silence. The bullet doesn't strike his heart. It grazes his shoulder, but the force knocks him to the ground. The impact drives the breath from his lungs. He tastes iron and dirt, but he forces himself to rise. Because dying without seeing her again isn't an option. Back at the ridge, Claire gasps, feeling the same wound burn through her body. She knows what it means. Jamie is hurt, and time itself is tethering them through pain. Roger and Brianna rush to her side, terrified, but Claire pushes them away. He's not gone, she says, her eyes glowing with a strange resolve. Not yet. She runs to her laboratory, to the small silver stones she once swore never to touch again. Roger shouts for her to stop. Time travel has grown unstable, dangerous, but Claire doesn't listen. Love, after all, has never listened to reason. She grips the stones, the air around her crackling with blue fire. Bring me to him, she whispers. The hum grows louder, rising to a roar. And then, silence. The room is empty. Claire opens her eyes to smoke, to screams, to the scent of war. She's on the battlefield. The sky burns crimson. Around her, Bodies lie scattered, but she doesn't see them. She sees him. Jamie, wounded but alive, struggling to rise. She runs to him, calling his name, her voice breaking with every step. When he looks up, disbelief fills his face. Sassenach. He breathes, tears cutting through the dirt on his skin. She kneels beside him, her trembling hands pressing against his wound. "You stubborn man," she says, half laughing, half crying. "You said you'd come back." He smiles weakly. "Aye, and here ye are, always saving me." But as she works, the air begins to shimmer again. Time is fighting back. The pull between centuries grows violent, ripping the world apart around them. The stones have allowed her through, but they demand payment. Claire realizes the truth. For one to remain, the other must return. She can save him, but only by staying behind. If she goes back, time will claim Jamie forever. If she stays, she'll be trapped in the past alone. Jamie sees it in her eyes. He understands before she even says the words. "No," he whispers, his voice breaking. "Not again. I won't let ye." She shakes her head, tears falling freely. "Jamie, you've given everything. Let me give this." She leans close, pressing her forehead against his. "Time took us apart once. Let this be where it ends." The world around them trembles. The light grows blinding. Jamie grips her hand tightly, refusing to let go. "I'll find ye," he says. "If it takes eternity, I'll find ye." And then the light consumes them. When the world steadies again, the battlefield is silent. The smoke clears to reveal only stillness. The war is over. Men will tell tales of a Highlander who vanished in a flash of light, his body never found. They'll call it myth, a story born from chaos. But some will whisper that he crossed into legend, that love itself carried him beyond time. Years later, Brianna sits by a fire, reading an old letter found among her mother's belongings. The ink is faded, but the words still breathe with warmth. "Do not grieve us, my sweet girl. Time is not our enemy, it is our story. And when you hear the wind in the highlands, know that we are there, together, as we were always meant to be." The camera lingers on Brianna's face as she looks toward the horizon, the sound of distant bagpipes rising. A single tear slips down her cheek, but she smiles. Because she knows. Her parents' love didn't end. It simply found a new form, and as the screen fades to black, a whisper echoes, Jamie's voice, soft, eternal. "For where love is, time has no dominion."